Many years ago, in the vibrant city of Abakaliki, there lived a young lady named Somto. Somto was a very beautiful lady and was very successful too. She had gotten a very good job with a fat salary and several perks immediately after she graduated from the university, and this had given her a head start in life. Somto was living the dream kind of life that every girl wanted. She was very happy, not just because she had a well-paying job, but because she had very good friends too. However, as Somto clocked 30 years old, she was beginning to get very worried because she did not have a man of her own. She had always dreamt of getting married early and giving birth to all her children before she clocked 30 years old. And here she was at 30 and was still single. So Somto came up with a plan to make sure that she got married as soon as possible. So she started attending social functions more frequently so as to increase her chances of meeting a good man and getting married. And it worked, because 6 months down the line, Somto met a very handsome young man named Ogbu at a birthday party, and they clicked immediately. Ogbu was a businessman and had several shops at the market where he sold motor spare parts. Ogbu was smitten by Somto. He had fallen head over heels in love with her. She had everything that he wanted in a woman. So they started dating very quickly, and a few months later, Ogbu proposed to Somto and asked her to marry him, and she readily accepted. So a few months later, Ogbu and Somto both got married in a lavish wedding ceremony, and they were super excited. After their honeymoon phase, Ogbu and Somto both settled into their new life as a married couple. Ogbu was a very good, supportive and caring husband. He doted on his wife and loved her so much. He always sent surprise packages, from chocolate and wine to food to flowers, to his wife's office just to surprise her, especially on days when they had spoken and she had complained that she was having a bad day. Ogbu just wanted to make sure that his wife was very happy being married to him. Ogbu was also a very traditional Igbo man who had always believed that it was the sole responsibility of a man to provide for his family. So Ogbu provided every single thing for his family. He did not mind that Somto was working and earning almost as much as he was. He took pride in being able to solely provide for his home, and yet he still placed Somto on a monthly salary. So Somto literally used her money to do whatever she liked. She invested most of her money in buying landed properties and sent money home to her mother and siblings. Somto never offered to take up any financial responsibility at home, as her mother had always drummed it into her ears like a song that it was not the job of a woman to provide for the home. Rather, the job of every woman was to keep the home and raise the children. Her mother had also taught her that if a woman assisted her husband financially, that it would make him very lazy, and soon enough, the man would gradually shift the sole responsibility of providing for the home to the woman. So Somto took her mother's advice to heart and ran with it. So she collected money for every single thing, down to money for simple things like maggi and salt, from her husband. In Somto's head, she always said to herself, my money is my money, oh, and his money is our money. So Somto continued to spend her money solely on herself and her family, and save it and invest the rest, while her husband continued to provide every single thing for the home. And Somto and Ogbu actually lived together very happily. A few years down the line, Ogbu and Somto had given birth to 3 beautiful baby girls, and they were even more happier than ever before. By this time, Somto had already built several houses and was receiving rent from the houses. She also had credible investments scattered everywhere. However, one day, tragedy struck Ogbu's business. Ogbu had liquidated all of his assets and had taken all the money and used it to buy goods from China. But unfortunately, the ship carrying his goods capsized. Ogbu was at home one day when he received a phone call and was informed that the ship carrying a container of his goods had just capsized. Ogbu immediately collapsed and was rushed to the hospital by his wife Somto. A few days later, Ogbu was discharged and was back at home. Ogbu was constantly sad. He wept and wept. He had lost all that he had in just one business transaction and had nothing to fall back on because he had liquidated all his assets and put the money in this failed venture because he was so sure that he would make a whole lot of money once his goods arrive. And the worst part of it was that he had also taken a loan from the bank and used the house where they lived as collateral. Ogbu was so sad. His wife and daughters tried to pacify him, but he was inconsolable. A few weeks later, the banks that he owed came and ejected him and his family out of his property, which he had used as mortgage. Ogbu was so devastated, he wept and wept profusely. However, because Somto had already built houses, her family was not stranded, and they simply moved into one of her houses. But this was the beginning of Ogbu's misfortune, because Somto suddenly changed overnight towards her husband Ogbu. She was no longer the sweet, caring and submissive wife that Ogbu knew. Somto became a lion. She began to challenge Ogbu and speak to him very rudely. If she woke up in the morning to prepare for work, and Ogbu was still asleep, she would carry a bucket of water and pour on him, shouting, "Come on, wake up, you this lazy man. You had better not get too comfortable in my home. Oh. Your mates are out there looking for money and you're here sleeping. Are you the first person to lose their business or everything they own? Instead of you to behave like a man and pick up yourself and start all over again, you're here sleeping." Somto would scream angrily. Somto. So this is your true color, Abi? Somto, for crying out loud, it's not even up to a month that I lost my job. Yet see how you're treating me. You know very well that I am not a lazy man. We have been married for 13 years and have never asked you to contribute 1 naira to the upkeep of our home, despite the fact that you earn a very good income. Somto, you're wicked though. How come I never saw this part of you before now? Ogbu said, while drenched in water. No wahala, call me whatever you choose to, no problem. But what I'm saying is simple. If you plan on relaxing and staying at home just so you can make me the sole provider of our home, then you better have a rethink, because that is never going to happen. I'm not going to shoulder your responsibility for you, Somto said angrily and left for work. Ogbu was too stunned. If someone had told him that his wife, his own wife, would ever raise her voice at him, not to talk of insulting him like that, he would never have believed. But things continued like this, so they did not even get better, because Somto even disrespected Ogbu even more. She began to serve him food, plain rice without stew and protein. And when Ogbu asked her why there was no meat in his food or why she was serving him just plain rice, Somto would reply him and say, you should even be thanking your God that I gave you food. Abeg, just let me hear word. If you don't like it, then go out and walk. Somto would reply harshly. Somto also sacked all their domestic staff, and when Ogbu questioned her for making such a decision without informing him first, Somto simply replied and said, who are you that I should consult you? Did you pay them last month? Besides, why do we even need them when you are home all day? Since you have refused to pick up yourself and start your business again, at least keep yourself busy now. At least be washing plates, keeping the house clean, mopping, cooking. Haba. Somto replied angrily. Somto. This is just 8 weeks since the unfortunate incident happened. And you're treating me like this after all the love and care that I have shown you for years. Somto, is this fair? Ogbu replied, heartbroken. But Somto was not remorseful. She did not think that she was doing anything wrong. And sometimes she would even call her mother, who was fondly called Madam Cash by everyone, to tell her what was happening in her home, saying, Mama, can you believe that it's been 8 weeks and my husband still stays at home? He has not yet gotten anything doing. Mama? Somto said to her mother. Okay, so what are you doing about it? Hope you're not making him comfortable. Somto's mother, Madam Cash, asked. No, Mama. Have you forgotten that I learned from the best? I am making him very uncomfortable and keeping him on his toes. I am making this house too hot for him. Nobody will tell him to go and get a job. So it is me that he wants to be slaving away and working hard while he stays at home sleeping, Abi. He's a joker, not on my watch. Somto replied, fuming. Very good. That's my girl. You are indeed your mother's daughter. Forget all these people that will be saying you need to be a supportive wife. Forget them, oh, forget them. You had better learn from my experience. I learned the hard way so that none of my daughters would ever have to experience what I experienced in the hands of your father. See, just simply because I was working, I was a good wife, I was working, I had a good salary and I was supporting the home. Your father cunningly pushed all the responsibility of caring for the home to me and used his own money to be pushing small girls round now. Meanwhile, I could barely afford to buy myself a new set of underwear because I had spent all the money on the home. You see, none of my daughters will ever experience that nonsense. Listen to me again, Somto. Your money is your money, and his money is your money too, Madam Cash stated emphatically. Yes, so Mama, thanks again for your kind words of advice. I would also pass it on to my daughters that my money is my money, and his money is our money. Somto replied, and she and her mother both laughed heartily. So Somto intentionally continued to torment and frustrate Ogbu. Ogbu was very devastated. One day, he decided to hang out with his friends named Elochukwu and Ekeka and confided in them, telling them everything about how his wife had suddenly lost all regard and respect for him and how she treated him so poorly simply because he was no longer wealthy. Then Elochukwu looked at him and said, our people say that the power of a man is his money and the power of a woman is her beauty. But I'm really shocked by your wife's behavior. I would never have guessed that she could turn around and treat you this way. I mean, out of the three of us, you're the only lover boy here. You don't even rack sense with ego when it comes to your wife. Ah, what a pity, oh. This is a lesson to all of us here, Elochukwu replied. And then Ekeka looked at Ogbu and said, wait to one day. Do you remember that time this insurance company, AXA Mansard? There was a time their people visited our shops. Did you take advantage of their insurance packages? Ekeke asked anxiously. Oh, I'm not so sure, but I think I told my lawyer to look into it. But my lawyer has not been in the country for 2 months now. He traveled before the unfortunate incident. And I have not spoken to him yet, but I think he should be coming back next week. Ogbu replied, looking dejected. You should call him, oh, if you really took advantage of their offer. You might just be singing a different song in a matter of weeks. Because if you have insurance, they will pay for every single thing that you lost, though, depending on the package that you went for. Ekeka replied, really? Are you serious? I will have to call him, or I'll have to call him as soon as possible. Ogbu replied, feeling very hopeful. However, as soon as Ogbu got back home, he got the shock of his life when he saw his 3 daughters seated in the parlor and looking very sad in their school uniform. My princess, why are you all home by this time of the day? Are you not supposed to be in school? Ogbu asked, looking worried. Yes, Dad, we are supposed to be in school, but the principal sent us away because we have not paid our school fees. Ogbu's first daughter, Ada, replied sadly. Oh, I'm so sorry, my princess. I'm so sorry that you had to experience such embarrassment. I promise that I would make this right and I will make it up to you, okay? Please go upstairs and change your clothes and rest, okay? Ogbu replied lovingly to his daughters, and immediately they left his presence. He was filled with shame and yet rage. For crying out loud, he had spoken to his wife and pleaded with her to please pay the children's school fees, and had even promised her that he was going to pay her back as soon as things got a bit better. So he was surprised that all his pleas had fell on deaf ears, and now his children, her own children too, had been embarrassed and chased out of school like peasants. And as Ogbu was still fuming in anger, he heard a knock at the door, and when he opened the door, he was surprised to see a court bailiff standing at the door. The court bailiff handed a letter to him. Ogbu was shocked, but when he read the letter, he did not even know when tears started streaming down his face. The letter was a notice of owner's intention to recover possession. His own wife had paid lawyers to get him ejected out of her house. Ogbu wept and wept. He could not believe that this was what he had been reduced to, a whole him. He just sat down in the parlor angrily, waiting for his wife to return from work. And immediately his wife stepped in. Before he could even say a word, Somto looked at him and said, what are you still doing in this house? Did my lawyers not serve you with a notice? Somto asked angrily. Meanwhile, her daughters were in one corner of the parlor, peeping at their parents, having an argument without them knowing. By this time, Ogbu could no longer hold his tears. Somto, you have the mind to send me out of your house. I have been nothing but a loving husband to you. I have never cheated on you. I have never hit you. And despite your monthly salary that is so huge, I still placed you on a monthly salary from my company. And just 5 months of being financially unstable, you decide to throw away 13 years of our marriage just like that and treat me like a rag? Somto, you are wicked though, Ogbu said, crying. I am not wicked though. I am not wicked. I only want to keep you on your toes so that you remember that you are the man of the house and provide for your home. I don't want to end up like my mother. Oh. My father abandoned the whole responsibility to her and she became a shadow of herself every time she was unhappy and sad. I am not wicked. I just want to do the right thing. Somto replied, frowning. Oh, so this is about your parents, Abi? Somto, tell me, with the way I have treated you for the past 13 years that we have been married, do I look or behave anything like your father? I am not your father, so it's unfair to compare me to him and treat me unkindly because of your mother's unpleasant experience. Ogbu replied sadly. No wahala, save your explanations. If you are not my father, then prove it by going out there and picking the pieces of your life together and come back and provide for your home. It's that simple. Somto replied angrily. Oh, wow. Okay, nice one. Now I know where I stand in this marriage. So I have one simple question for you. Why did you not pay our children's school fees after I pleaded with you? Somto, I begged you to please pay it. I even promised you that I will pay it back. You've never paid their school fees for once in your life. Just this one time, please. I begged you to pay. But you did not. Remember, they are also your children. No? They are not just mine. So why did you not pay their school fees? Ogbu asked, looking very heartbroken. Well, I figured that you needed some extra motivation to get your life together. So I figured that when you stay at home all day and see your children at home with you, you would stand up and get something doing. Somto replied, rolling her eyes. And who told you that I have not been trying to do something? Should I carry a cardboard on my head and say I'm doing something? Oh my God, in short, I think I have heard and had more than enough for one day. I am done. I'm leaving, and I promise you, you will regret this. Ogbu screamed angrily as he left with his bags. Please leave. You should have left before I came back safe. Be a man, provide for your home. That is what other men your age do, provide for your household. Somto screamed angrily at her husband. By this time, her daughters could not hold their emotions any longer, and they broke down crying, saying, Mom, why are you doing this to Dad? Why are you treating Dad like this? Dad is a very good dad. He has been nothing but good and kind to us. Her daughters asked, crying, My dear, you will not understand. But I promise you that I'm doing the right thing. Now listen to me, just like I listened to my mother. You must never be providers in your home. Always remember this, your money is your money. And your husband's money is not just his money, but for all of you. Did you hear me? Somto said, asking her daughters. Yes, Mom, we heard you. The girls chorused amidst their tears. Ogbu, on the other hand, had gone to his friend Elochukwu's home that night. He narrated everything that had happened to him while crying. Elochukwu tried to console him, but he was inconsolable. The following day, Ogbu called his lawyer to find out whether he had taken advantage of the insurance coverage when the staff of AXA Mansard had come to pitch their insurance options to him. His lawyer informed him that sadly he did not take advantage of the insurance coverage. Ogbu was so heartbroken. He spent the next few weeks at Elochukwu's home, feeling very sad and devastated. One day, Ilochukwu took Ogbu out. He just casually asked him to accompany him, let them go out for drinks. But unknown to Ogbu, that a huge surprise was waiting for him. As soon as he got to the restaurant, Ogbu was very surprised to see 14 of their mutual friends seated at the bar. They were all happy to see him and welcomed him warmly. And then Chima, the oldest of all his friends, broke the silence and said, Ogbu, we know that things have been very rough for you financially and at home. So we came together and pulled some funds together. Here, this is for you. Chima said as he handed over a check to Ogbu. Ogbu was shocked and even more shocked when he saw the amount his friends had given him. It was a whopping 100 million naira, not as a loan but as a gift. Ogbu did not know when he began to cry. He was so grateful and thanked his friends profusely. So over the next few months, Ogbu started his life afresh again. He started his business from scratch. And in a short while, he became financially stable again. Meanwhile, Somto had moved on with her life and had even started dating a young man named Ubong. Ubong was very rich and worked in an oil company. Immediately Somto heard that Ogbu was back on his feet and doing very well. She located where Ogbu lived and took her 3 daughters back to her husband saying, "Oh, so now that you're financially stable, instead of you to come and get your daughters and look after them and provide for them like every father should, you're here living a single man's life and enjoying your money alone, Abi? Biko, take your children and provide for them. They're your responsibility, aren't they?" Somto said angrily. Ha! Somto, I thought you were even here to apologize for your actions, but no. Instead, you're just here to come and hand over our own children to me. Here was I thinking that you would apologize, and then even though it is difficult, I would have still forgiven you for the sake of our children, so that we can become a family again. But look at you, no single remorse, no shame. Instead, you stand in my presence like a peacock. Anyway, just so you know, your mother's advice will ruin your life one day. And as for my precious daughters, did you think I was going to leave them with you? So that they will end up becoming very selfish and inconsiderate like you? You're a joker. I was only waiting till my house was completed before I come back for them. But since you have brought them to me, thank you. Somto, thank you very much. Ogbu replied, and then Somto walked away proudly. She refused to apologize to her husband because she did not think that she had done anything wrong. A few months later, Ogbu had moved into his beautiful mansion with his 3 daughters and they were so happy. And this time, he had decided to take advantage of one of the insurance coverages that AXA Mansard offered to avoid any future losses. He did not want history to repeat itself again. Somto, on the other hand, continued to enjoy her life with her newfound love, Ubong. She did not see anything wrong with what she did, so she refused to apologize. Ogbu had started seeing a beautiful young lady named Chiugo, and he fell in love with her very quickly and planned to marry her. So a few weeks later, he went to Somto's parents' house and returned her bride price so he could marry his new wife. Somto did not care, even when her mother called to inform her what Ogbu had done. Instead, she laughed hysterically. A few months later, Ogbu got married to Chugo, and although he really loved Chugo and treated her very well, his heart had been scarred from what Somto did to him, so he no longer shouldered all the financial responsibilities of their home. He ensured that Chugo contributed a little to the upkeep, and Chugo was more than willing to, and they all lived happily together. However, life had not been good to Somto. Her new boyfriend Ubong, who she had fallen in love with and whom she later got married to, was a deceiver. He lied to her that he worked in an oil company. Meanwhile, he worked as a pump attendant at a filling station. He was poor as a house rat. He did not even have a penny to his name. He was also very strategic. He had also made sure that he impregnated Somto very quickly, which was what even led to their marriage, as Somto was ashamed to be pregnant outside wedlock at her age, and that was why she agreed to marry Ubong. It was after their marriage that Somto realized that Ubong had lied to her and that he was very poor and worked as a pump attendant at a filling station. Out of shame of what people would say when they found out, she told him to resign from his job and then stay at home instead. So Somto became the breadwinner of the house. She was the one going to work every day and bringing money home. And yet, she was still the one doing all the house chores in her pregnant state. As she did not want to bring in a maid to the house, since her husband stayed at home all day and did nothing. She did not want her husband and the maid to start having an affair under her roof. As if that was not enough, she was still keeping up with her appearances and began to give Ubong monthly salary and still bought clothes and shoes for him so that he would look presentable. Yet, Ubong was never grateful. He was never appreciative and even became very entitled. He would beat her regularly in her pregnant states whenever she failed to give him monthly allowance on time. And he even still cheated on her, something that Ogbu never did. Somto was sad and heartbroken. She wept constantly. She began to miss her first husband Ogbu and how he treated her like a real-life princess. She realized that she was a fool to have treated him badly just because he had a little financial difficulty. She also wished that she did not take her mother's advice. Now she had lost a good man and was stuck with a cheat, an abuser, and a lazy man, and yet she was still the one providing for the home. She wished she could turn back the hands of time, but it was too late. Hi besties, it's your girl Omalicha again. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Is it true that if a woman assists a man, her husband, financially at home, does it make him lazy? Do you think that it would really make him lazy? Do you think that men derive pleasure from being able to provide for their home and feel threatened when a woman assists? Also, this whole slogan, my money is my money, your money is our money, how true do you think it is? And what do you think is the reasonable thing that should happen in a home, like the financial contribution? Should it be solely the man contributing, or should the woman assist? Please share your thoughts with me on this one. This is a very controversial topic, and I would like to hear all your thoughts on this one. And please, if you've not supported your homegirl Omalicha, like, what are you waiting for? Please just hit the subscribe button. Hit. Please hit the subscribe button, and please like my videos and share them with your loved ones. Now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories. Bye.